Grand Slam, one quarterfinalist, Phyllis Harris, has already emerged victorious tonight, but now it's time to continue the night's second competition with millionaire's John Carpenter. You remember him, the guy who called right before he won, called his father and said that I'm about to win $1 million. Great moment. And we also have tic-tac-toe champ Thom McKee up against the ropes for a coveted place in the quarterfinals. It's time for the numbers and logic round. Amanda, what are we looking at here?
Well, we've got an unusual situation here, Dennis. We have an IRS revenue collector who said he's petrified of numbers and logic. Doesn't make sense, really, does it? This is John Carpenter, who, by the way, is in the lead by 31.5 seconds. He got 4 out of 5 in a row correct in the last round, so not as weak as I thought he did.
Well, I know I'm supposed to be neutral like Switzerland here, but I was gang audited 2 years ago, so I'm going with Thom. Let's watch as John and Thom face off. Once again, they're in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your position. Round 2 is the numbers and logic round. John has 3 switches. Thom has 2 switches left to use. John, you'll be going first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. Is a kilometer more or less than a mile?
More.
Less. What is 54.3 minus 28.6?
Switch.
Switch.
Pass.
25.7. John, how long is 4 hours, 28 minutes minus 1 hour, 39 minutes?
Switch.
Pass.
2 hours, 49 minutes. Thom, what is 70 times 0.7?
49.
Correct. John, what is 75% of 300?
$225.
Correct. Thom, in geometry, what is the name for a triangle with 3 sides of equal length?
Equilateral.
Correct. John, what is 3/4 minus 1/2?
Pass.
1/4. Subtract the number of feet in a yard from the number of yards in a mile.
1757.
Correct. Thom, if you're able to collect all 50 state quarters, how much money will you have?
12.5 bucks.
Correct. John, what is 5 times 73?
73.
365. John, you're out of time. Thom, you keep 36.27 seconds to take through to the final round.
Well, two thoughts. As we've all seen etched in Sanskrit at the base of the Great Sphinx, subtraction is a bitch. Also, Thom, from a simpler time when men were still manly enough to call $1 a buck.
I actually thought John was going to call his dad there. We paused so long for one of those questions. It's got to be said. 5 seconds, Thom is up now. You see how Grand Slam flips
Yeah,
back
flip back there. You're right. He didn't want to call his dad. His dad's the great Santini. He would have smacked him around on that one. Our players are exiting the arena now to relax for a moment. So let's talk about where we are so far in this game. What do you got stats-wise, Amanda?
Oh, statistically, as I say, Thom is now up 5 seconds in this game. But it is still anyone's game, Dennis. John is 6 out of 11 correct, and Thom 6 out of 12, and both have used 2 switches, even Steven.
Let me tell you what I find intriguing about this matchup. Both Thom and John have an H in their first name. But if you lost that H from either of their names, they would still be pronounced John and Thom, so why waste an H? Hey, Grand Slam's going to return. We'll be right back.
Coming up, can John reclaim his lead, or will Thom's winning streak continue? It's all after the break on Grand Slam.
There's a lot more pressure at this than a millionaire, because the time element is just an added thing that I didn't have to deal with. I'm actually pretty confident about words and letters. I mean, certainly got to do better than the last thing.
Wasn't particularly nervous, but there were a couple questions there right off the bat. Just had to pass on, so what do you do? Words and letters should be okay. I guess it depends on the words and the letters. Trying to recall 27 years ago on tic-tac-toe. It's similar in that you got to come up with the answer. It's just here you got to come up with the answer real quick. It's a lot of fun. I think it's a great show.
All right, welcome back to Grand Slam. Right now, Thom and John are returning to the arena for the final 2 rounds of play. Up next is Words and Letters. Who do you think he has the advantage here, Amanda?
You know, I'm not sure that either of them has the advantage here, Dennis, but seeing as John Carpenter, our IRS revenue collector, was bad at math, maybe he has the edge in words and letters. Let's see how they do, shall we? As once again, they are now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your positions. Round 3 is the words and letters round. John has one switch. Thom has one switch. Thom, you'll go first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. What noted sourpuss's name is an anagram of I Lemon Scowl?
Pass.
Simon Cowell. Separate the world capital from its country in this jumble.
Pass.
San Jose, Costa Rica. Lewis Carroll combined what two words to make the word chortle?
Pass.
Chuckle and snort. Which Greek vowel is hidden in this phrase?
Stare.
Epsilon. On a bottle of sunscreen, what does the abbreviation SPF stand for?
Sunlight protective factor.
Sun protection factor. What exotic fruit is hidden in this phrase?
Pass.
Kiwi. What 8-letter word connects blood to cooker?
Pass.
Pressure. Add vowels to these letters to get the name of a
Switch.
member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Switch. Pass.
Roy Orbison. Thom, you're out of time. John, you take 55.25 seconds through to the final round.
Wow.
Wow. Be kind to thy elders, not.
Ah.
Thom walked into a bar fight and got creased with a pool cue on the first question. He was stumbling from there on in.
That is the disadvantage of having to go first, Dennis. I mean, he quite literally handed it up to John on a platter.
You know,
Bit of a disaster.
I answered as many questions as he did in that round, and I wasn't even playing. You know, only the final round remains in this game, where one of these players will make his way to the quarterfinals. See which one emerges victorious in the all-important final round. After the break.
Who will move one step closer to the Grand Slam trophy and $100,000? Find out when we return.
Welcome back to Grand Slam for our final round of gameplay in tonight's opening round game. John Carpenter and Thom McKee, both game show icons, both looking for the win here, are about to face off one last time to see who will be moving ahead in the tournament. Now, Thom has not played in over 20 years, and you can see, kids, you cannot take 2 decades off in between game show appearances. When Thom won Let's Invent the Wheel way back when, it was a much simpler world. Amanda?
Yes, but Dennis, this is still far from a foregone conclusion because we've just seen how easy it is to lose a 50-second lead by going first, and John is first in this instance, so he could be right back where he started again.
All right, for the final time, they are now in control of the question.
Contestants, take your positions. Contestants, this is the final round. John, you kept 1 minute, 26.75 seconds from earlier rounds. That means you have a total of 2 minutes, 26.75 seconds on your clock. Thom, you kept 36.27 seconds, so you'll have 1 minute, 36.27 seconds on your clock. Both contestants receive an additional switch, which means you both have one switch to use. John, you will go first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. If your watch is set ahead precisely 12 minutes and it reads 6:08, what time is it really?
5:54.
5:56. Of the 50 U.S. states, which one is alphabetically last?
Wyoming.
Correct. Thom, for what American musical did Carol Channing win a 1964 Tony Award?
Pass.
Hello, Dolly. What name does Robinson Crusoe give to the man he rescues from cannibals?
Friday.
Correct. John, what TV personality's name is an anagram of Broke Barb?
Switch.
Bob Barker.
Correct. John, since 1997, when he returned to the company he co-founded in 1976, what chief executive makes an annual salary of $1?
Bill Gates.
Steve Jobs. What is the perimeter of a rectangle with a length of 5 inches and a width of 4 inches?
18 inches.
Correct. Tom, Dr. Michael DeBakey was a pioneer in developing an artificial version of what organ?
Heart.
Correct. John, what U is the small piece of tissue that hangs in the back of the human mouth?
Uvula.
Correct. Tom, what angle is supplementary to a 75-degree angle?
15.
105 degrees. The Chicago Tribune wrongly declared what man the winner of the 1948 presidential election?
Thomas E. Dewey.
Correct. John, in the final season of Gilmore Girls, Rory graduates from what university?
Harvard.
Yale. What is 18 times 16?
Pass.
288. A dysfunctional family driving a VW bus to a beauty pageant in California is the synopsis for what 2006 film?
Little Miss Sunshine.
Correct. Tom, what dessert is made with bananas, brown sugar, and rum, then set afire?
Bananas Foster.
Correct. John, what vegetable is hidden in this phrase?
Onion.
Correct. Tom, a family driving 310 miles must maintain what minimum average speed to reach their destination in 5 hours?
62 miles an hour.
Correct. John, in 1963, Maurice Sendak wrote about a mischievous young boy named Max in what award-winning children's book?
Where the Wild Things Are.
Correct. Tom, if Gil Grissom is solving a murder in Las Vegas, what television show would you most likely be watching?
Vegas.
CSI crime scene investigation. Leonardo da Vinci's anatomically proportionate sketch of a human is known by what name?
Pass.
Vitruvian Man. If a hot dog at Yankee Stadium costs $6.80, while one at Jacobs Field costs $3.95, how much cheaper is the one in Cleveland?
$2.85.
Correct. John, what fast food chain started using its ad slogan, "Have it your way," in 1974?
Burger King.
Correct. Tom, Swedish for commissioner or agent, what O is an official who investigates complaints?
Pass.
Ombudsman. In 1975, President George W. Bush received his MBA from what university's business school?
Yale.
Harvard. Express the year 2007 in Roman numerals.
M.
MMVII. Tom, you're out of time. John, you are tonight's Grand Slam winner.
Tommy McKee, old school. I don't need no stinking switches.
Oh, you little face. There was one moment where he was
Yeah,
only
could have used
15
one there.
seconds
Could have used one
behind.
there. And by the way, you know what I found out in that round? No wonder I can never locate the uvula. Congratulations to John. Let's look at our tournament bracket now.
Well, it seems like we'll be seeing him next time in the quarterfinals playing Michelle Kitt.
Of course, I'm happy to have won. I just, I don't feel like I gave up, anything close to, the kind of performance that should have won with. Yeah, Michelle, she's a tough competitor, and I'm not looking forward to that.
It was the words. Neither of us got one stinking word right, and that was, it was tough. Everybody that's involved in this show got here for a reason. They're all very, very good. I couldn't handicap this any more than I could, World Series. I loved it. It's a great show. I'd love to come back next year.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight on Grand Slam. Come back next time for lots more gameplay with some of the best game show champions in all of history. For all of us here at Grand Slam, Miami Beach audiences are the greatest audiences in the world. Good night!
Next time on Grand Slam, it's a battle of millionaires as the 8th and 9th seed face off.
It's going to be a good match. 15, Hyena, Star Wars, The Last Supper.
Nancy Christie, the only woman to have won it all on Millionaire, versus fellow veteran Ogie Ogas.
I think I'm going to take the game. Think of 3. Andy Warhol, Polaris, Speed of Light.
Speech.
And the biggest winner on 21, the number 5 seed David Legler.
Thin Mint, 28. The Godfather. No, and I'm in it for the long haul.
Takes on the number 12 seed game show legend Frank Spangenberg.
Mango, 0, Leningrad, 1 hour, 22 minutes. It's just a fast game. It's not like falling downhill.
The action continues.
Who's got the edge here?
I leave it in the hands of the gods, Dennis.
Next time on Grand Slam.
On a brand new Grand Slam, millionaires Nancy Christie and Ogie Ogas face off. Then 21's David Legler versus Jeopardy's Frank Spangenberg in the smartest show on earth.
You gotta stay like a speed bag in the gym.
Grand Slam.
Welcome to Grand Slam, where television history will be made. For the first time, the greatest game show champions will gather on the same field of battle, and only one will reign supreme. From Jeopardy champions to millionaire winners, pop culture masters to word wizards, 16 of the game show world's elite have been seeded based on how much they've won. To compete in the most challenging game ever played, a winner-take-all tournament to finally prove who is the best of the best. At stake, a $100,000 grand prize, the coveted Grand Slam Crystal Trophy, and the right to be called America's greatest game show player. On the most difficult game on television, who can withstand the pressure? Who will win? Grand Slam. Tonight, in a battle of millionaire superstars, the first and only female $1 million winner, Nancy Christy, comes up against Ogas, a brilliant cognitive neuroscientist who took home $500,000 last season on the show. And then, the battle of the lieutenants. 21 winner and Navy Lieutenant David Legler takes on Jeopardy legend and NYPD Lieutenant Frank Spangenberg. Who will emerge victorious? And who will be going home? Find out right now on Grand Slam.
Joined up here above all the action by my good friend Amanda Byram, welcoming you to Grand Slam. Tonight, for the biggest game show champions ever will play their opening round matchups in the 16-player tournament, which will determine who will take home $100,000 and earn the right to be called the greatest contestant in all the land.
First up, Nancy Christy, the only woman in the history of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire to win $1 million. Meets up with Ogas, a $500,000 winner on Millionaire also, and a PhD candidate at Boston University. Let's meet these two millionaire winners.
Nancy Christy, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I won $1 million on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. C, and that's my final answer.
We have our first woman as a millionaire.
It hasn't changed my life on a day-to-day basis. I am an 8th grade English teacher. I get questioned all the time, are you still teaching? Well, yeah, but I don't have to. I do it because I love it. People ask me if I was nervous when I was on the show. I said, I stand in front of 8th graders every day. That's the toughest audience you'll ever have.
I think she'll do great in Grand Slam. She's very smart, like I said. She's brilliant.
Ken's going to be tough. Brad's going to be tough. Ed's going to be tough. Ogie, because he's just got this mind.
Ogas, Boston, Massachusetts, by way of Annapolis, Maryland. I'm a graduate student at Boston University, where I study the brain. Ogie is ambitious and hyper-focused. I'm definitely not a trivia guy. I know very little trivia. I'm a brain guy. Specifically, I like to think about thinking. I spent a lot of effort thinking of cognitive techniques to use on Millionaire. My greatest regret is, on the $1 million question, I just absolutely did not prepare for the level of anxiety and stress and tension that I felt there, and so I just didn't have the guts to go through with it. It's too much at stake. Nowhere to walk.
Let's see the answer so you know.
I don't think he's going to choke again on Grand Slam. Hopefully I'll have an advantage in the math round and in the verbal round, and not let anybody run away on the trivia round on me.
Now, I understand that Ogas is a graduate student working in a very specific field of brain science, doing his thesis work on why an adult male already with the surname of Ogas would name his progeny Ogie. It's a little-known discipline. I think it's going to be a lot bigger in the future. It's like nanotechnology. Amanda, two millionaire players, very different people. What are your thoughts?
Extremely different. I mean, a lot of people are saying that Ogie's going to walk this, you know, as you said, he studies brains for a living. He's a cognitive neuroscientist. He is an analytical machine. But I wouldn't rule out Nancy Christy because she is, as I said, the first woman to win on Millionaire, the only woman to win on Millionaire. And she's a teacher, and this isn't all about numbers and logic. She has a leg up, as I like to say, in the words and letters round two.
Now, listen, like me, is there any part of you, when you have to say the words Ogas together, want to break up and laugh hysterically like the Chuckles the Clown episode of Mary Tyler Moore? No? All right.
Yeah.
Let's go down to the arena. It's time for Nancy and Ogas to enter. While they prepare for battle, it's time for the Ogas rules. Grand Slam is played over 4 rounds: general knowledge, numbers and logic, words and letters, and a final mixed round. Both contestants begin each round with 1 minute on their clocks. Once a contestant gives the correct answer, his clock stops and his opponent's begins to count down. The player whose clock runs out first loses the round, and his opponent keeps whatever time remains on his own clock to play with in the final, decisive round of Ogas.
And now each contestant has 3 switches to use at any time over the 4 rounds. If a player doesn't like a question, he can simply switch it over to his opponent. So it looks like our contestants are ready for round 1. So for the first time tonight, they are now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your positions. Round 1 is a general knowledge round. Earlier you tossed a coin to see who should go first, and Nancy, you lost, so you'll answer the first question. Your clock will start to count down now. Bartholomew, Andrew, Thomas, and Simon the Zealot are all depicted in what famous painting completed in 1498?
The Last Supper.
Correct. Ogie, what current game show host also appeared as a series regular on the NBC drama St. Elsewhere?
Richard Dawson.
Howie Mandel. Vatican City is an independent nation located within what European city?
Rome.
Correct. Nancy, until 1972, what country was known as Ceylon?
Sri Lanka.
Correct. Ogie, in 1994, current New Jersey Governor John Corzine became chairman and CEO of what investment bank?
Goldman Sachs.
Correct. Nancy, according to the lyrics of a 2003 hit song by Khalees, what drink brings all the boys to the yard?
Milkshake.
Correct. Ogie, who famously said, in the future, everyone will be famous for
Andy
50...
Warhol.
Correct. Nancy, Edward was the vaccinator and Bruce the decathlete. What's the surname?
Pass.
Jenner, in the famous equation E equals MC squared, what does C represent?
Switch.
Speed of light.
Correct. Nancy, Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest peak in Africa, is located in what nation?
Kenya.
Tanzania. The movie U.S. Marshals is a sequel to what 1993 hit film?
Pass.
The Fugitive. SN is the chemical symbol for what element?
Antimony.
Tin. The first Walmart store opened in 1962 in what U.S. state?
Arkansas.
Correct. Ogie, what star is currently known as the North Star?
Polaris.
Correct. Nancy, in what country would you find King Fahd International Airport?
Saudi Arabia.
Correct. Ogie, what is the first name of Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling?
Joanna.
Joanne. Ogie, the famous brand of Waterford Crystal is produced in the city of Waterford, located in what
Ireland.
country? Correct. Nancy, Gary Sharon, and correct answer to the final question is Van Halen. Nancy, you're out of time. You lose round 1. Ogie, you take 16.23 seconds through to the final round.
Well, you can see how important rhythm is in that round. Nancy moving along with a very eclectic sense of Ceylon, Sri Lanka. But then you stumble over a couple, you get all bojangly. She was doing great up to that point, and then she just started to freak out. You got to stay like a speed bag in the gym. As soon as it starts to disrupt, the whole thing falls apart.
But what I tell you, don't rule Nancy out, because she was right up there with her pop culture questions, her general knowledge, and she's also said that words and letters are her forte. Her father is a cryptographer, I believe.
Her father, Ogie.
That's right, Ogie Christy.
These two millionaire all-stars will return. Sorry, I'm obsessed with the name Ogie Ogas. To face the awe-inspiring numbers and logic round right after this break. Don't miss it.
After one round, Ogie Ogas is in the lead. Can schoolteacher Nancy Christy make up the time and teach Ogie a lesson? Find out when Grand Slam returns.
Hey, folks, welcome back to Grand Slam. Got a good game for you tonight. Tonight's competition well underway with millionaires Nancy Christy fighting it out with Ogie Ogas. He's another millionaire alum, and they're both going for a spot in our quarterfinals.
In the first round, Nancy Christy struggled, answering only 56% of her questions right, while Ogie Ogas powered through, answering 75% of his. He'll be taking 16.23 seconds to the final round, but with 3 more rounds to play, it is still anyone's game.
Now it's time for the numbers and logic round, one of the things that makes this game a lot different.
That's right, the players are going to have to do a lot of math computations really quickly in their heads. This is the sort of the Rain Man round, if you will, and if you don't have one of those minds, it can cost you a lot of time. Of course, Ogie Ogas, the guy who studies brains versus the school teacher.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I've noticed about the numbers and logic round. It's very interesting. The guys who go into it overly confident get their head handed to them on a platter. People who go in a little humble, sometimes they're sneaking through, actually making hay in the round. Maybe it's all about a certain sense of humility. We'll see what the numbers bring for Nancy and Ogie. Once again, they're now in the control of the question.
Contestants, take your positions. Round 2 is the numbers and logic round. Nancy has 2 switches. Ogie has 3 left to use. Ogie, you'll be going first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. What geometric theorem regarding right triangles is usually represented? Correct. Nancy, what is the square root of 289?
17.
Correct. Ogie, what is 40% of 70?
28.
Correct. Nancy, how many square inches are in a square foot?
144.
Correct. Ogie, what does y equal in this equation?
-3.
Correct. Nancy, how is 57 expressed in Roman numerals?
C, V.
L, V, I. What is 21 plus 58 plus 52 plus 20?
152.
151. The interior angle formed by the hour and minute hands of a clock reading 5 o'clock is how many degrees?
Pass.
150 degrees. What is 572 divided by 11?
65.
52. How long is 3 hours, 38 minutes minus 49 minutes?
As 2 hours, 33 minutes.
2 hours, 49 minutes. Divide the number of Maniacs in Natalie Merchant's band name by the number of guys who made up NSYNC.
200.
2,000. How many pints are in 6 quarts?
12.
Correct. Ogie, if 4z plus 5y equals 51 and z equals 4, what does y equal?
7.
Correct. Nancy, what is 1/4 of 1,360? The answer is 340. Nancy, you're out of time. You lose round 2. Ogie, you keep 39.64 seconds to take through to the final round.
That's scary.
Nancy seems like a sweet, sweet lady, but once it all goes awry like that, you see Ogie standing there looming over her like Steve Jobs, rolling out the iPhone. She's just getting rattled, and she has trouble staying up.
Well, Ogie's up by almost 56 seconds now, and I think it's that crossed hands and steely glare that's doing it every time.
Nancy and Ogie are walking upstage for a quick rest to gather themselves. Nancy particularly needs it at this point. How are things looking after 2 rounds, Amanda?
Well, things are not looking good for Nancy Christy. She has answered only 8 out of 18 questions correctly, while Ogie Ogas went a perfect 4 for 4 in this round, bringing his percentage up to a whopping 83. And Nancy better dominate in the words and letters round, or she's going to have little hope in beating Ogie.
All right, Mandikins, we're going to go backstage now, see what our players are saying at halftime.
He's tough. He's a machine. He's just up there. He's focused. It should be tough. Words and letters, I think, will be a lot of fun. Hopefully, since I teach English, I'm familiar with words and can figure out the puzzles. But you never know. Whatever gets tossed to you is what you have to handle.
Well, I'm really tired. And I'm definitely feeling my tiredness affecting my gameplay. I'd set my circadian cycle so that I was expecting to play during the day. So my peak neurotransmitter activity would be during the day. And so it's the evening. I definitely feel the tiredness. And unfortunately, my opponent self-destructed in that last round. And so I didn't need to play any better than I did. Well, this, has a lot more opportunities for me to apply some of the brain heuristics that I was developing. Just little cognitive tricks, to get my brain to perform better. I finally got to test them out, in actual gameplay there, so I think I'm going to take the game.
No, Ogie, don't make me kill again. All right, Nancy and Ogie are now returning to the arena for our 3rd round of the game. Words and letters. What can we expect from that?
Anyone that says brain heuristics without flinching is a real man in my eyes. Now, this round, of course, is all about crossword type clues, words.